So, you want to know how much a sailor gets paid? Well, wait a second. This sounds weird.
Oh no, it's not a ship. He's in the RV.
So right now I have a pretty good system set up. When I'm on the ship, I'm working on RV videos. And when I'm in the RV, I'm working on ship videos. So round and round we go. But currently, I'm working on the videos from my last voyage. But recently, I've been bombarded with questions on how much a sailor makes and how much you get paid. And I have no footage from the previous voyage of me breaking down the pay. So, I'm gonna have to shoot that video in the RV. I don't mind doing the video for the ship, filming it in the RV, because it gives me an opportunity to plug the RV channel. So, hit there or there, one of them. Check out the other channel. It's my RV stuff. When I'm not on a ship, I'm dicking around in an RV. Go check it out. But anyway, let's get into the video. One nice thing about actually filming this video in the RV is that I have my filing cabinet here. So my filing cabinet is filled with all my pay stubs and files for every ship I've ever worked on. So by the end of the video, we're gonna go through it and I'll tell you what I made on all the ships you've been asking. But before we get there, I'm gonna break down the pay scale and I'm gonna break down how we actually get paid. It's not as easy as I work at AMC Movies and I make $18 an hour. It's a little more than that. But anyway, complete disclaimer. This is just my experience. I work on a union deep sea vessels usually. So guys who work on inland tugs or guys who work on MSC ships or non-union ships, that's going to be a completely different pay scale. So I'm just telling you what I know. Take it how you will. The way I broke this down is I put some thought into this a little bit, and I believe there's three major factors in how much a sailor makes. One is the rating, two is the contract, and three is the kind of operations the ship's on. And I'll explain that when we get to it. So the rating, obviously the SA or steward's assistant, the guy doing the dishes. I'm next to an airport right now and the jets are taking off. Lovely. But yeah, so the rating, like I said, the SA, steward's assistant, the guy who does the dishes, isn't going to make the same as the captain. And every job in between, you know, like be an AB maintenance or you could be an AB watch. Both are ABs, but they're two different jobs. So number two is the contract. So when you break down a contract, obviously there's different rates of pay in the contract. So the big things guys look at usually on the contract is your day rate. We don't get paid an hourly rate, we get paid a day rate. And that's 8 hours worked every day for the month. So and then that equals the monthly rate. Another thing is the overtime rate. Your overtime rate is an hourly rate. It's not a daily rate like your day rate. It goes by the hour. And then the third thing guys typically look at is your penalty rate. And penalty is a whole other thing. Penalty, usually you get paid a penalty rate when you're doing some kind of hazardous thing or something that's out of the norm. Like working with certain chemicals or entering certain spaces, you'll get a penalty rate. The rates are very important because in black and white, that says how much you're getting paid and how much you're making. But that could be irrelevant, which brings me to my third point, is the operations of the vehicle. The operations of the vessel, vehicle, what the hell. So the operations, when I say operations of a vessel, I could take a job that has a good rating, have a great contract, but when I sign on that ship, I could sign on and they don't pay the overtime, or there's no penalty, and you're just making your day rate. A good example of that is the 7 to 7 days on a container ship. So when I signed on, when I took that job, looking at the contract, it was very appealing. The day rate was very high. The overtime rate was great. The penalty rate, all those things, the contract looked great. But once I signed on to the ship wasn't giving out overtime.
But for some reason, the chief mate said there would be no overtime given for the entire transit. So my day consisted of hanging out on the bridge for a couple hours and a whole lot of free time. It was nice just to chill out, especially after the hectic coastal run, but it sucked not making money.
That was 3-4 years ago. That ship may be paying overtime now. So you can't, it's hard to say, oh, this ship stinks, this ship's good. It's all relative on how it happens at that moment. 1 month the ship could be great, the other month it could be crappy. Another example is the ship I was just on. The ship I was just on, the contract wasn't great. It was on the lower end of the pay rate. The daily rate was okay, the overtime was but the type of work that ship was doing, the operations of the vessel, we were getting a lot of overtime and we were getting a lot of penalty. So that voyage, when I was on that ship, that was great. I made a lot of money on that ship, not because of the contract, but because of the operations of the vessel. I'm actually, a little plug real quick, another one. I'm working on that series. It's going to be a 16-part series that should be coming out within the month, hopefully. There's a couple other factors to consider when thinking about how much a sailor makes. We also get paid vacation pay, at least in my union we do. And a vacation pay is for every 15 days, for every 30 days you work, you get paid 15. Some ships give you 10 days for every 30 work. Some ships give you 20 days for every 30 days you work. It's all different. That's all in the contract. Another thing to consider is while I'm working, I'm not paying for food. I get breakfast, lunch, dinner, 3 meals a day for free every single day. So while I'm out there, I'm not paying, there's no expenses, at least for food. That's when people ask, oh, how much do you get paid? Which is a fair question to ask, because if you're thinking about getting into this industry, you'd like to know that. If you're gonna give up whatever you're doing now, it's important to plan financially, and I understand. That's why I'm making this video. But it's not just a quick cookie cutter answer. There's a lot of different factors. But yeah, okay, I think that broke it down pretty well. You should have a pretty good understanding of how you get paid, and I'm sure I'm gonna get bombarded with questions, and I love to answer them all. I think I'm crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's here. I think I am. But all right, let's look at the old files, and I'll tell you what I made on the ships. So this is the container ship. Another thing to mention is every ship pays you differently. So this particular ship, you didn't get, how the hell did they work it? You got they gave you allotments every couple weeks, but you had a big check at the end is how they paid you off. Okay, the only pay stub I have is my overtime, and like I said, so on this particular ship, they weren't giving out that much overtime. They just didn't want to pay overtime, but at the same, even if a ship doesn't want to pay overtime, there's still ways to accumulate overtime. Let's say like we have to, going back to the operations, if we're coming into port, we have to tie up the ship, and it's during my rest period, and it's all hands thing. They'll call me out, work 2-3 hours, whatever. I'll get that overtime for that day because they're calling me out. So even though they're not paying overtime for maintenance, obviously they're still going to give it for tying up the vessel and operational stuff like that. But I can't find how much I made, which is, I thought I had all that stuff. But for the 250 hours I worked, I made $56 or $5,600 in overtime. So that's how much money I made just in overtime. But I don't have my daily rate, which stinks. I'm sorry. I thought that would be in here. Okay, let's go to another one. This is the grain ship, 65 days on a grain ship. It wasn't the best contract. It wasn't the worst contract. It was decent. They gave a decent amount of overtime. We weren't getting 4 hours a day, but we were getting 3. Not too much penalty, blah, 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 blah. For 65 days on that ship, I made $18,000. Before taxes, so I still have taxes that have to come out, and that's also not including vacation pay, and yeah, so that 18 grand I made, someone can jump on that ship, and a month after me, they can relieve me and come on and make a completely different amount of money. So it's hard to paint a good picture of how much we make. It's always different. So the ship I was just on, I did 130 days, and that was actually the most money I've made in a long time working on a ship. And like I said, the contract was decent, but we were getting lots of overtime and penalty. Just the nature of the operations of the ship required the crew to work more than usual. So because of that, the pay reflects that. And for 130 days before taxes, I made $41,000. And that doesn't include the vacation pay too. So I don't even know what the vacation pay is. Yeah, okay, we'll call it there. That was 3 ships, but come out here not because of the money, come out here because it's the lifestyle, and that's why you want to come. The people who come out here for the money are the ones that are upset and salty, and if you don't want to be here, don't do it. Drive a truck, go get your CDL. Like I said, I made more money driving a truck. So if you're chasing money, there's probably better ways to chase money. Come out here because you want to come out here, because you want to sail, not for the money. But yeah, I hope that answered your questions. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Check out my RV channel. Yeah, go check out the RV channel. This is the RV. I'm at a campground right now, just hanging out. So yeah, go check out the other channel. Thanks for stopping by, watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.